regard. Recall that one of the president's cardinal, campaign points, which is agenda number 4, was to unlock, or is to unlock the natural resources of our great country for our national economic prosperity. So pursuant thereto, as ministers in the Minister of Petroleum, we were asked to, first of all, increase production, ensure that we meet our OPEC quota. Our OPEC quota for the year 2024 is 1.5 million barrels per day. Last year, our OPEC quota was 1.78 million barrels per day. And the reason why our OPEC quota was reduced to 1.5 million barrels per day was because we were unable to meet the production of 1.7 million barrels a day. So when we met at OPEC to determine the quota for 2024, they said the previous government signed that whatever we produce as at November 2023 will form a quota for the year 2024. And so we're helpless. As at that time, we're producing less than 1.5 million barrels. At the time we took hold of office, we were assigned into the Ministry of Petroleum. We were doing about 1 million barrels per day. As at today, I'm proud to announce to you that we are doing approximately 1.7 million barrels per day. This is inclusive of condensate. There is a difference between crude and condensate. But even for crude alone, we are doing approximately 1.5. For condensate, it's even higher grade of crude that even sells higher in terms of price than the crude that people popularly, talk about. So as of today, our budget is predicated on 1.7 million barrels per day. But plus condensate, we're already meeting our budget expectations. So I think we deserve a round of applause from you. At least we are meeting our own mandate. First of all, of producing what OPEC has given to us to produce, which is 1.5. We have exceeded it when you include condensate, and so we have achieved that. Our target is to ensure that we produce up to 2-3 million barrels per day, and we have the capacity to do so. Our problem hasn't been capacity. Our problem has been, so many other, factors which I don't want to bore you today, but one of them is the difficulty in evacuation. Our pipelines, some of them as old as 50 years, some of them as old as the industry, which started in 1956 in Bayelsa. And so, the lifespan of the pipelines have already expired. And so when a young man goes to those pipelines and he just touches the pipelines, they are busted. And so even if you produce, you have the challenge of evacuation. And that is why most of the flow stations are shut down because of evacuation difficulties. But we are addressing those problems. And that is why we are confidently saying that the issue has nothing to do with capacity, but the issue is basically technical and which we are addressing. And by the time we address them, within the shortest possible time, we'll increase production, to 2 million to 3 million. Let me also say, as part of, our achievement, is that when we got into the ministry, one of the biggest problems we faced was lack of investment in the last 12 years. Recall that recently, the global CEO of Total made a statement in Kigali, in Rwanda. And he said, Nigeria hasn't seen investment for 12 years, which is true. But we're already changing the narrative. I was in a meeting with him on Saturday with Mr. President, and all the issues he raised are already addressing. Also to tell you that Total has also shown significant interest in the new bid rounds that have been announced. President approved a new bid round, which we launched in Houston sometime this month, and Total is already expressing significant interest in some of those blocks. So also the other IOCs, which means that the IOCs, we've been able to, rekindle the confidence of the investing community, and they are coming back. Even this morning, I was playing host to the global CEO of Slumberger. Slumberger is the highest, is the biggest oil and gas service provider in the world. Slumberger, among other companies like the Halliburtons, left Nigeria. Why did they leave? Because the policies were not favorable. They left because some people who were implementing the Local Content Act misunderstood the local content to be substitution of the IOCs. That wasn't the intent. I was in the Senate when we passed that law. The law was to build local capacity to play at their own level. As of today, no local drilling company can go to deep offshore to drill. It's still the exclusive, it's still within the exclusive capacity of the big oil servicing companies to go to deep offshore, where bulk of our production is coming from. It's important to note that over 80% of what is produced locally is produced by the IOCs. And the IOCs themselves have pledged that they are not leaving Nigeria, but they are trying to leave onshore and shallow waters to go to deep offshore, which is beyond our own capacity at the moment. So the point is that we have been able to rekindle the confidence, we have restored the confidence of the investing community in the oil and gas sector. And that is why Halliburton's global COE was here. And that was why the Total global CEO was here last Saturday. And I've met with the global CEOs of Shell, ENI. As I speak now, the team of ENI is still waiting for me in my office. All these are to show that the policies of this government are working. We are already bringing back the investors because they now have confidence in this present administration. So we've done what a government is expected to do to attract investment. Somebody was asking me that Total announced $6 billion of proposed investment in Angola. I'm also very, very, happy to announce to you that we have a company that I don't want to tell you now, but there's a company that in the next few weeks will announce a $10 billion investment in deep offshore. And they are in town waiting for me. These were companies that left Nigeria because they believed that there were inconsistent policies. The atmosphere wasn't favorable. But following this administration's policies of deliberately creating the best environment that are competitive globally, they are all coming back. There's also another company that will invest about $5 billion. And these are not stories. But I don't want to preempt the announcement, so I let it be that we announce it so that Nigerians will know that Angola cannot be compared to Nigeria. In Africa, Nigeria is the leading oil and gas producer, and we are still dominating that position. Our target in this 2024, having worked very hard to create the enabling environment, is to ensure that we have minimum of $20 billion in investment this year. The only way you can sustain increase in production and generate money that government needs to finance our economic problems, our economic programs, is the oil and gas sector. The quickest way to our economic prosperity is the oil and gas sector. Every country that has oil prioritizes investment in oil. And Nigeria can never be an exception. So what we are doing is to see how we can create that investing opportunity for companies to come and invest. The way the oil and gas sector works is this. If you have an oil block and you do not sustain your drilling program, it's just like somebody who has dug a well, and to keep fishing, the thing will keep going down. This morning I was with a company, and that company alone is saying that they are happy that Slumberger is back to town, and they have a drilling program of drilling 100 wells. You know what that means? That will be another major investment that will attract billions of dollars. You know, the Minister of Petroleum is not a ministry where you execute projects. Ours is to create the environment so that investors in the oil and gas sector can continue to invest in the sector. Nigeria still has the highest reserves in Africa. But the reason why we are not seeing the benefits of these huge reserves is because in the last 12 years, Nigeria's capital investment to reserve was the lowest in the world. We are at only 5%. Angola had 46%. Mozambique had 97%. Guyana had 617%. You ask yourself the question, why did the companies in Nigeria fail to invest in the last 12 years? The reason is simple. The PIA took longer than ever to be passed. And nobody wants to invest billions of dollars in any clime where there's uncertainty. Now we have told them that the PIA is now passed. We have a stable governance structure. We have the best fiscals, and the president has signed executive orders. We have the best fiscal terms that are globally competitive. And we're saying that you have a long history with Nigeria. So come back to Nigeria and invest. And that is why those who want to invest the $10 billion is an old IOC. Those who want to invest the $5 billion is an old IOC. There are also other smaller companies that are coming in. One is in fact proposing to invest $1.6 billion, and I brought NNPC together with them. That is the mandate of the Minister of Petroleum Resources. Our own target is that by the end of the year, we'll have increased production through our sustained investment campaign to at least 2 million to 2.5 million barrels. So that OPEC will be forced to beg us and say, look, slow down. Instead of me going to beg OPEC to, to sustain our meager, OPEC quota. Last year, I practically was begging OPEC. I had to travel to the president of OPEC, who was minister in Equatorial Guinea. I had to go to Saudi ahead just to lobby, because if they wanted to follow what the previous government had agreed, our quota would have been 1.2 billion barrels. But I'm happy that at least we are meeting our OPEC quota, and we are making all the decisions we need to make to ensure that we surpass this OPEC, quota. I will not bore you, with too many other issues, but let me also, say that one of the reasons why the investing community is coming back is because, as a policy, we decided to eliminate all the bottlenecks. The bureaucracy in the system has been completely eliminated. You will agree with me that some companies will apply to renew licenses, and it will take 1 year to renew a license, because somebody has to know somebody who knows the minister. But since I came, all that has been eliminated. You don't need to know me before I sign the extension. And I've also told the world that you don't also need to know me before I cancel your own. We must set uniform standards. Just like I don't expect you to come to my office for me to sign your license. If you do not perform according to the terms of your license, we also cancel it. Let us give it to those who have proven capacity, both technical and financially, to explore these oil wells. The biggest challenge we have is that we have thousands of idle oil wells that are not exploited. I give one example. There is one oil block between Rivers and then Akwa Ibom. That oil block has 117 oil wells, but only 10 are producing. The rest are just shutting. Why? No explanation. They're in the hands of somebody who may not have capacity to be able to explore. It's just like you have a tenant in a house. You must get a court order before you eject him. We cannot forcefully go in and put new people. So what we have done is to put framework in place to say, look, the PIA gives us authority to say, if you are given license, you have conditions attached to it. If you are not meeting those conditions, we can farm them out and give it to people who have the capacity to be able to produce them. Unless you bring out the crude oil deposit in the soil, there's no economic value. And the good news is that from the projections we have, oil price will still be stable in the next 4 or 5 years. It will hover between $80 to $90. This is the best time. Nigeria didn't make money when every other country made money. Following the Ukraine-Russia war, oil price came up. Every country, Aramco declared over $200 billion in profit. Only Nigeria didn't make money. What we are doing is to rewrite the story. Let us maximize our production, which we are doing, and ensure that Nigerians benefit from these God-given resources that we have. You know, we as I said earlier, today I was with the global CEO of Alibotton of Slumbiche. We are bringing back all the service companies. I'm in touch with all of them. Because the IOCs will complain that, look, if they want to go deep offshore, unless these big boys are there, they cannot do it. Or unless they come back, there will also be no competition, which means the price will be higher. And the higher the prices, the more we pay as Nigerian government. Because all these blocks you see, Nigeria owns between 60 to 70%. And so whatever cost that is attached to production, we pay majority of it. And so they are all coming back. Also in the downstream, I also want to assure Nigerians that in the downstream too, we are doing whatever is practically possible. The previous government started the rehabilitation of the refineries. And NNPC is the one that is rehabilitating them, not the Minister of Petroleum. I want to make it very clear. So that you do not blame me. Don't hold me responsible. I'm not the one who awarded those contracts. Those contracts are awarded by NNPC. But I've been to the refineries and I see work going on. And very soon I believe that those refineries will be rehabilitated. We have also given licenses for modular refineries. And some of them are already started producing. And these people don't know me, I don't know them. Some of them have seen me on the road and they say, look, you approved my license without knowing me. And I said, yes, very good, go and work. If you don't work, we'll cancel it without knowing you. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by saying that one of the biggest achievements in the Ministry of Petroleum is sustaining the peace in the Niger Delta region. Without sustainability of that peace, the oil and gas companies cannot operate. I'll give you an example. When I was minister in the Ministry of Agriculture in 2015, some of you may be aware of these Avengers. Avengers came and then, caused some havoc. And production came down to below 1 million barrels. And so Nigeria went into a recession. What did we do? We had to engage stakeholders in the Niger Delta to give peace a chance. And production went up to 2 million barrels. So without peace, all the policies we are talking about, all the efforts we are making will be a mirage. And so one of the biggest achievements is engaging the relevant stakeholders in the Niger Delta region to sustain the peace so that oil and gas companies can return and invest so that we can generate the money for the benefit of Nigerians. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity. If there are specific questions, I want to be very willing to answer. Thank you very much.